Here's my Ithica Model 72. We're going to disassemble and reassemble it. All right, let's take off the buttstock here. And the top plate. Which then just pull straight off the top. Some things to pay attention to are the locking block indexes, can't really see it on camera, underneath the lever, not on top in that little track. You'll see when I take it out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove the locking block, which is here, this top pin. Just pushes out. Here's the pin. This is the piece that indexes underneath the lever. With a small pair, pull out this spring. The next thing we're going to do is push out this lever pin. Which pulls out, and that is also going to go through the lifter's arm right here. The next thing we're going to remove is the hammer. And the spring comes out, the hammer comes out, yeah, everything comes out. The last thing is the trigger. And there's a little spring on that as well. Okay, the last thing we need to take out, well, the second last thing first, this is your ejector. It just sets on there. It's held in place by the cover here. We're going to unscrew these holes, remove this block, and then we can pull out the elevator. I'm using a G2 hollow ground screwdriver for these. For this video, I'm not going to take out the barrel pins and remove the barrel or the fore end because it's not really necessary. So once you got those pins out, you can grab this piece and lift it straight out, as you can see. And then on the elevator, you can also lift it straight out, but be careful, there is a small spring and bearing in there that you have to make sure it doesn't fling out. Try can show you this on camera. So right here, usually what happens is people will lose this little ball or this little spring, and then they have trouble with their stuff. So just make sure you're blocking that when it happens. And as you can see, everything is out. This screw here indexes with the back of the lever here to adjust the elevator, this piece. So there's no reason to remove that unless you've messed with it, then you just have to trial and error and get it back into working order, but everything is completely out. So let's put it back together. Okay, so to reassemble, let's put this elevator back in. You can start it. Set the little ball on there. And push it back in like that. Push it all the way down. This block, not really sure the name, will slide right back in here. Kind of angle it and then push it down. I have to adjust it a little bit to get those screw holes to line up. All right, got those screws back in here. Now let's put the trigger back in. This little square hole here, where the trigger goes, and the trigger pivot pin. And then you can feel spring loaded. The next thing is going to be the hammer. Here, it'll slide right through. As you can see, the hammer will let it go all the way forward. The hammer spring is a little tricky. Start with the hammer all the way forward. Index this little ball inside of there. And then you kind of just push down while you're pushing this back and lifting up on the back end to where it can go through. And then the trigger will lock it in place. Might take you a few tries. Now we have to install the lever. Pretty straightforward. If you see here on the bottom of the lever, there's this hole, and that's where your elevator is going to index in. That little arm there. You can see that on there. See how it's right here. So all those things just got to wiggle until they get in line with each other. A little bit of pressure on it, put it right there. And now you can see when I operate the lever, the elevator lifts up and down. The back here is what hits that screw that everyone says not to mess with in the back there. All right, finally, we have the locking block. This is a little dent on the bottom, spring here, a little index like that. I like to take this pair of small Kellys just so I can grab it. And then there's a little space in there right here for it to index on. So I just set it on there. This piece has to fit underneath of here. So put it in to it right to the bottom, then press down. So you see that little nipple is underneath of there, not riding on top. And then your extractor, the last piece, will set here. Slide the cover back on, make sure the hammer's there, it's where you can get around it. All right, once you get the top back, I know I just forgot to record, but this top will slip back on. You just got to make sure the lever is aligned with the bolt. And don't do that. I'll do it on video real quick. So I like to start about here. Put that on. Right here, use to line up with this, because that's what's going to drag the bolt back and forth. There we go. I'm going to hold it. All right, I'm just going to screw these on. All right, I just screwed these on all four sides. Last thing is put the stock on. And I'll do an even more detailed strip of all this when I refinish this gun. If you have any questions, just let me know. Last thing, the only punches I used a hollow ground N2, hollow ground G2, a 5/32 punch, and a 5/64 punch. Any punch will probably do though.